Hello, this is Murshida Rudy Cotter again talking about Rudra Yoga. And in this talk, I want to talk about the methods or techniques that we're going to be using in our Rudra Yoga program. And that's going to make me want to refer to something called the Nine Lung. This is a teaching from the Bön Buddhist tradition. Lung is the Tibetan word for prana. So we're talking about the essential energy of things, and there are 9 of those. So the first one is the essence. And if we think of space as the essential container of all there is of this universe that's created, we're referring to essence of space, of that still, beginningless, boundless, endless space. And the second lung has to do with the silence of the potential of that space, the clarity and aliveness of that space, but it's utterly silent in its essential nature. And then the third one is that because of that space and that light in its purest form, it creates natural mind or pure state of mind, which creates all things. And then what happens is somewhere as we get more sophisticated in our knowing about this mind, this vehicle, and out there, then there's that first little separation or duality where the mind can doubt. So the doubting mind is the cause then of all problems, difficulties, mind after that. The mind doubts. So that's the third lung after natural mind. So natural mind is part of third lung, and then that mind has the capacity for its pure essential nature to rest and to be alive, and it also has the potential to doubt. The fourth lung is the wind horse thinking mind. So the doubt produces multiple thoughts, and that stirring of the thoughts then creates the fifth lung, which is the karmic pull of tendencies and patterns. So we have the karmic winds, they're called, in the fifth lung. And these are patterns of habit. So we've done these things, we've thought this way, we felt this way, we've done these actions, and we've been through certain cycles over and over and over and over again, very well practiced. The next lung, I think we're on number 6, would be the emotional lung. So now emotions become more intense, more solid, more real feeling. And that lung then produces the 7th one, which has to do with the physical body. The physical body starts to take on the vibration of those intense emotions, and it begins to store that tension as contractions in the body. So now the body can become ill. It can develop disease and illness. And then the next lung, which is the 8th lung, is with that problem with our body vehicle, then the external environment also begins to sour or become solid or become more and more negative. So not only is the body vehicle now in a negative, ill state, but the environment is in a negative, ill state. And we can see this in the activity of ill environments where there's a lot of poverty and suffering and gangs and wars and so forth. So very negative external environment. And then finally, the last lung, it has to do with something is destroyed. So it's called era destroying lung. And so if the vehicle becomes so negative, if the environment becomes so negative, then something stops, something ends. A relationship can end. A town can be destroyed through the breakout of war. A planet can end. So something ends. So knowing about these 9 lung, we want to know, okay, where are we in our evolution? Do we have a negative environment? Do we have a sick body? Do we have lots of negative emotions? Do we have a lot of karmic tendencies and habits that are really not healthy and good for us? Is our mind very, very busy, always thinking and always feeling like these thoughts are very solid and very real? And then finally, do we doubt? Do we doubt the reality of this big view that we are actually beings of light and energy? We come from the clear light space. Everybody does. All things in the universe are created by space and light and are basically we don't have much substance. It's very quite temporary, our reality in these forms of physical bodies. Okay, so there again is a little bit of setup of our condition and then what we can do about it to have a positive mind, a fruitful, creative mind where we're not creating unintentionally by letting our thoughts go in the direction of negative mind, negative emotions, sick body, sick environment, something ends, but we are creating intentionally in the way of creating better situation for ourselves and others, happier states, which create thoughts that are more creative and help ourselves and help other people to have a joyful, productive, integrated life. Okay, so now it's very, very hard to simply change the mind. If you know that the mind is negative and thinking negatively and producing negative emotions, it's really hard simply to decide, okay, well, I'm just going to change my mind. So what do? We learn how to move our attention of the mind to a different place. And the place is going to be the body. So we put our attention on the body and we begin to move the body. So we must have body movements. That's one technique. In Sanskrit, we say asana. So we have yogic postures and dynamic movements. We also supplement our work with the Feldenkrais movements and very gentle ways of learning about ourselves, the way we move, and how to organize our movement better so we feel better in these bodies. And that movement of the body then, of course, affects the prana or the breath. And we do work directly also with the breathing and different cycles of breathing. And sometimes we let the breathing completely rest and be uncontrolled. So breath is another technique. In Sanskrit, we say pranayama. And we also create sounds. We sing mantra, we make sounds, and these sounds have vibration that move in different parts of the body and change the vibration there, which again changes prana, changes the mind, changes our state. And mantra practice, sound practice, is also a breathing practice because we breathe in and then we make a long exhale as we make our sounds or sing the phrases. And this very extended long exhale helps us to learn how to rest, like rest more, like in that leaving of the breath and that long exhale, we learn how to rest, to let go and to let be and not be so anxious about taking that next breath in and what do we need next. So it really helps with the anxiety that we have in our life and in this world. And then we're going to work with mind directly. And we're going to notice what our mind is doing, how it's thinking, what it's focused on. And we're going to learn how to direct our attention off of the what's wrong, off of the problems that we have, onto looking out there and getting our senses out into the outer environment and seeing what's out there that feels better, what's out there that feels supportive to me right now in this moment, which could be a green leaf. It could be a red flower. It could be hearing the kind of white noise of traffic. But whatever it is, we learn to listen for, look for, feel what is more supportive than the way we have our attention in the moment. And then we learn how to rest in that a moment and see how it might change what we then experience next or pull in with our senses next. That's the first part of meditation, is learning how to direct attention away from what's wrong to what is right or what's supportive. And then secondly, we learn how to calm the mind with a technique. And the technique will use some kind of form, some kind of object, which could be at first an outer object like a candle flame. And it could be an internal object like a bindu, or what we call a tigle, a small ball of light in the third eye area or in the heart area. So we might bring in an external object, an internal object, as well as those are objects of form, but we can use objects of hearing, like hearing sounds come and go, or hearing a particular long om sound and directing our attention there and meditating on that sound. So with object, and then also we learn how to rest the mind without object, and simply to rest the mind in a non-doing state in the space, and being able to feel the stillness of space, the silence of space, the quietness that it brings us in our bodies, in our breath, more stillness in the mind, more overall relaxed, open, spacious view. And then the fourth technique is, I think it's four. Let's see, we've said body, we've said breath, sound, meditation, or using the mind. And so the fifth one is going to be study, which also is using conceptual mind to study the teachings of the masters and to first hear the teachings. And then as we go about our business of our day, of our life, we contemplate the teachings. We notice, well, how does that apply to me in my life? Do I practice that? Do I not practice that? Would it be good if I did practice that or tried it on? And so we contemplate the teachings, and then we meditate with the teachings. We learn how to, again, practice this technique of the body, the breath, the mind, all coming into one place of more and more calmness, openness, spacious, clear reality. All right. And meditation in that sense too, they say we practice hearing, contemplating, and meditating. So meditating also does have to do with how we conduct our life. And the what we do doesn't matter so much. Whatever we love to do, it's always best to do what you love and love what you do. But even if you're doing something that you'd really rather not, but it's your job or it's something that must be done, it's something you want to do because somebody asked you. It doesn't matter what it is, but whatever you do, it's the how you do it that makes all the difference in the world. So the how you do it is the vibration of you. The how you do it is the state of your own mind and being. The how you do something is the space of your heart. And so if your heart is clouded with negativity and grumbling and complaining about what you do, then you create that vibration, and then you attract that kind of vibration in your environment, and you get fed back to you or mirrored back to you this ongoing complaining, grumbling, unhappy, problematic states that you have generated in your own heart. So we pay attention in our life to how we're doing and how we're being, and we learn to direct our attention in a way where our actions can be meditative or mindful, where we know what we're doing with our hands and feet. We know where our body is. We know what our senses are picking up. And then we learn how to pay attention to what we create from thought. And maybe it starts with feeling or a vibration of feeling. And then we have thoughts, and then we have feelings or emotions, and then we speak with those, and we create in our outside world as we speak something, and we hand off to another person or send a vibration into a space that is the next wave of creation. So we learn how to pay attention to our language. And then finally, we learn how to listen to this energy, this life force energy that is constantly moving inside of us. Life force energy is our sexual energy. And we learn how to use that in a very conscious, intentional way. And we talk about that energy is for creation. So we learn how to create intentionally with it so that we're always healing ourselves and others, growing ourselves and others, and we're evolving together and going in the right direction. So again, with that 9 lung teaching, we listen to where we are on that map, And we want to be sure that we're going more upward into the, the higher states of consciousness or awareness, going from something's not good, something's ending, something's being destroyed, and we can move the energy by looking at the next one up. Okay, how to shift the environment. Maybe we need to clean. Maybe we need to clean spaces and order things and create more order externally so we have more order internally. And then maybe we need to look at our bodies and the energy of the body, and we may not have illness, but we may not be very flexible or very open. We might be very stiff and contracted and kind of greeting life with our shoulders up in our ears and bracing against it all the time. So we need to move the body and move the energy, move the prana there. And then that's going to help change our mood and emotional feeling. And as we have more positive feeling better in our bodies, feeling more well, feeling more spacious, we have more room, then our thinking begins to shift and the thoughts of the thinking are lighter, and we have a little more space between things so that we're not just always running into the next karmic pattern over and over and over again, creating again unintentionally, saying things that we don't really mean to say or doing things we don't really mean to do. And then as we are paying attention to that, then the next part is just the thinking mind. It's always thinking, always thinking. And can we step back and separate a little bit the mind that can witness the thinking from the thoughts themselves? And if we can do that, it doesn't really matter what thoughts come and go the mind. We can simply be aware that we're watching thoughts that do come and go. They're temporary. They're not us. We're not those thoughts. And we can become the witness of those thoughts and begin to feel the more calm and present awareness that we are, which takes us into that third lung of natural mind. And natural mind is connected to the clarity, the light, the aliveness, the life, the creative process, and natural mind is connected to that spacious, open, welcoming state. All right, so those are our methods that we'll be practicing in the Rudra Yoga program. And I look forward to letting you know a little bit more about it in the third video. Thank you.